Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another video. And in light of my Sons of Anarchy video getting basically now is my most viewed video on my channel, I wanted to do another TV show discussion. Now, this is revolving around The Walking Dead, one of my favourite, well, definitely my favourite TV shows. Not one I think is the best of quality, but definitely a show that is my favourite at this point of all shows I've watched, and I've watched quite a lot. So this is a list of my top 15 characters. I couldn't really do 10, and that's, I just couldn't. So yeah, now I just want to quickly say before I start this list, my list is completely different to other people's lists, and just please respect my opinion, and don't bash me for it. Now, I've put certain characters above certain characters, which some people would probably disagree on. Now, there are characters in the show which are popular to some people, which I don't particularly like that much. It's just sort of my general views on the characters now. But I am an all-round Walking Dead fan. I've read the comic book series from issue 1 to 151. I've watched all the TV shows from season 1 to season 6, episode 10? 10? 9? 10. Yeah, 10, yeah. And I've I've played all the games. I've played Survival Instinct. I've played Telltale Walking Dead seasons 1 to 2 with 400 days, and I've also played the first episode of Walking Dead Michonne, which is also on my channel. So I am, probably. I want to class myself as a massive Walking Dead fan. Definitely. I don't want to say I'm the biggest Walking Dead fan in the world, because I'm probably some more devoted. But just to give you a rough round thing, I also have a lot of collectibles, figures. Figures, lots of stuff like that, merchandise, general Walking Dead stuff. I have a lot, and I don't live in America, so that stuff's hard to get. Anyway, moving on. Right, so we'll do our list. So number 15 on my list is Glenn. It's Glenn Marie. Now, this is the one that people are going to be a bit annoyed about, and the characters I've put above Glenn. For me, although I love Glenn, and he is a great original character, I just don't think he does it for me. He's not my favourite character. He's not a character I feel sort of a massive emotional attachment to. For example, when they did the fake out death in season 5, I wasn't all that, although at first I kind of thought, alright, maybe he is dead, and then after I thought, like, when it was happening, I kind of thought, yeah, he's dead, he's definitely dead, Glenn's dead. I didn't really care that much, and that kind of, maybe that's because of the way he died, or maybe it's because of the way of the character. Although I just feel like Glenn as a whole, for me, although he is a great character, he just doesn't compare to some of the other characters. I just feel like he's not as strong. It's not because of his race or anything. Please don't say that, because I'm okay with different race characters. It's all good for me, but I just don't care for Glenn that much. And it's sort of the same in the comic book series. I probably like him a lot more in the comic book series than I do in the TV show. It's not really the actor or anything. I just don't know. I think it's just the writing for Glenn. I'm not a massive fan of the Glenn-Maggie relationship, although I think it's a great aspect of the show. It's just not my favourite aspect of the show, and I much prefer the most recent relationship with Rick and Michonne. Anyway, moving on. Number 14. Number 14, I've put Abraham. Now, I like Abraham. He's pretty cool. He's pretty badass. Although his character lacks some sort of story building. Obviously, we had the flashbacks with him, and with the episode all about him. And after that sort of episode, I kind of love him a lot more. The stuff with the cure as well, when he finds out that Eugene was lying about the cure, I think it was such a brutal moment for the character when he realised that he was close to death, and he was going to kill himself, and he risked his life for this man, and he thinks, in his mind, he's saving the world, and actually he's wasted all that time. And that's why he punches Eugene, and that's why he sort of collapses on his knees in the middle of the road, in a sort of, starts to weep. I do think he's a cool character. He was trying to battle for leadership with Rick. He's sort of like this, the false hero in the story. And it was, he is a good guy. I do like his character. Just feel like he needs a bit more building, and yes, I've put him above Glenn. Deal with it. I just like the character a lot more in the show anyway. Number 13, I've put Dale. Again, people are going to disagree with me because of the Glenn situation. Now, I've put Dale here because honestly, I love Dale in season 2. Season 1, he wasn't that great. Season 2, he was the voice of reason. I love the voice of reason characters. They are super cool, and yeah, I just love the speech. Dale's speech for me is the thing that did it for his character. You know, when he was talking about Randall and he was saying, you know, if we do this, the rule of law is dead. There is no civilization, and basically saying that it's deriving them from their humanity, and they don't then, you know. And I just loved his voice of reason. It was really cool. His death was pretty sad. It would have been cool if Frank Darabont stayed. Obviously, Frank Darabont stayed on the show. The character wouldn't be dead, but it was a sad death, and yeah. But I just feel, again, obviously Dale for me, he didn't have enough time to be any higher. Again, putting him above Glenn, I felt like he stood out a bit more than Glenn for me, not for other people. And I know people love Glenn, and Glenn is badass as well. I'll say that, but I know people are going to disagree with my Glenn situation. I can't help it. Number 12 is actually Morgan. A lot of people don't like Morgan this season 6, just because he kind of he's taken this persona and this ideology that you know, it's wrong to kill, and he refuses to kill anyone in any situation whatsoever. I like this character building. I like the idea of this. The story can't just keep going with the group trying to survive and doing anything to survive, because it gets old, it gets weak. The Morgan's come along and he's trying to change their ways so they can do stuff like jailing people. They can do stuff like, you know, kneecapping them instead of shooting them in the head. This kind of stuff, and it builds the show, and that's why I like Morgan. A lot of people hate Morgan for this idea, but if everyone was killing each other, then the show wouldn't go anywhere. And I'm hoping it will follow that Morgan will actually survive season 6, and he will follow into basically what leads them to you know, what happens with Negan in the end of the all-out war, and he will be the one to influence Rick to take that action. Anyway, moving on. Number 11, I have put Eugene. Again, above Glenn. God damn it. Yeah, but I've done that. Right, Eugene for me, he's a cool character. He's a coward, and that's the sort of that's the base of the character. He's a guy who lied his way to survive. He lies to Abraham, basically lies to him, so Abraham will do whatever it takes to protect him, because Abraham's got nothing else to lose apart from Eugene now. And that's why I like him. He's a manipulator, but he's a very smart manipulator. He is clever as well, and especially in the No Way Out episode, that's what did it for me. When he nuts up, he gets up, and he says, "Nobody gets to clock out today." One of my favourite lines ever. Yeah, and he goes out with his machete. So honestly, Eugene again, he's just a crack. He's a laugh. Yeah, he's a very laughable character. He's a very humorous character, and some of the things he says are really funny, and he's very witty. And yeah, I just love Eugene. Okay, number 10 I've gone with Maggie. Oh yes, there she is. There's the match for Glenn. Right. Again, I've put Maggie above Glenn. I feel like Maggie stands out a lot more than Glenn. Now, for me, Maggie, obviously she came in season 2, Farmer Girl, and then obviously her and Glenn pretty much hit it off straight away. Now, I like Maggie a lot more than Glenn. I just feel like she's more of a badass. She's more of a, you know, tough survivor for me. Anyway, it may just be it is to do with her gender. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If she was a male, I don't know, Melvin, and same sort of character, I wouldn't care so much. You know, her and Glenn, I just feel like she's the one who makes the relationship work. And if I had to pick one to survive, I'd pick Maggie, all the way. Again, Maggie's a sort of strong female, and she she brings something more to the show, and overall I think her character is just great. Nothing really much more to say. Trying to think more, but again, she's kind of this low. She is still pretty low. The reason that she's even this low is, again, I just feel like, comparing it to the other 9 characters, she hasn't stood out as much. And although I like the stuff when, you know, there was this thing where Glenn was missing, and, you know, when he wasn't missing, but they all split off, and she didn't know what happened to Glenn. I like that storyline, and it was very touching. But you know, I just felt like there's other characters that just come above Maggie. So yeah. So number 9 is Shane. Again, another just a 2-episode character. I don't know. Yeah, he is a 2-episode character, and that's kind of bad. But did I say 2-episode character? I meant 2-season character. He was only in 2 seasons, and he's kind of bad that he's above these people, but the other people. But for me, Shane is great. The acting is great. In the comics, he lasts like all of the which of like 6 issues, 7 issues, something like that. He doesn't last very long in the comics. In the TV show, they dragged it out, but they dragged it out in a really good way. And basically, Shane drove all of season 2, and he's the one that makes me think season 2 is actually better than people actually say it is, because of the story building it does is really vital to for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons. Now, yeah, so we have Shane, and the stuff with him and Laurie is really, really, really good. And eventually he ends up obviously dying, and the way he dies is great. He gets killed once and then killed again. I mean, the acting from John Berthnall was great. The quotes were great. The feud between him and Rick was the thing that really got to me. And the bit when the barn bit was his best bit, I would say. When he kind of comes out and he goes, enough of risking our life for a little girl who's gone, enough living next to a house full of, or a barn full of things that are trying to kill us, and he starts killing them all, and that's why I think Shane is great. Number 8, I've put the Governor. Now, the Governor for me, great villain, probably the best the best villain we've had so far. Just a little bit better than Shane for me. Again, he's a very twisted character who is kind of influenced by Michonne a lot of it really. I would say it's kind of her fault that he gets so demented, but he was demented anyway. Kind of keeps his daughter locked up as a zombie. He's very and we see the fall of his army in season 3 when he basically just shoots them all up because he just doesn't know what to do. He sees all of his people afraid. He's not going to get them to fight again, so he just kind of loses it a little and just starts to mow them down. The character is very complex and very difficult, and he's a very he's a psychopath. Let's be honest, he is a psychopath. And then we obviously see him return in season 4 for one of the best episodes ever, Too Far Gone. It was great, and we see his death. Death was so satisfying, and that's kind of what did it for me. Is the sort of idea of him, Rick trying to convince him to come back, but he's gone. He's completely gone. There is no way the Governor is coming back. He's dead forever, in the soul and also physically. Anyway, number 7, I've gone with Michonne. Now, again, Michonne is probably my one of the strong. In season 3 anyway, she's definitely my favorite female character. But she's built on this sort of this weakness, if you know what I mean. She loses her child, and that kind of makes her weak in a way. But she because of that, it makes her a lot stronger. So it's what I'm trying to say is she's sort of vulnerable. When she had a child, she was obviously it was sort of her weak spot, if you know what I mean. She loses that weak spot, and she ends up chaining up her boyfriend and her boyfriend's lover because they're she ends up chaining up her boyfriend and her boyfriend's lover because she wants to keep on seeing their faces to remind her that it was kind of her fault that her child died. She's a very complex character because of that, and basically the reason she's even high, she was actually lower on my list, is mainly because of the most recent thing that's happened with Carl getting shot, and her actually, you could just see it in her face, her facial expression, when obviously she was slicing the zombies when Rick had Carl with his eye shot out. She was fighting for them. She cares for Rick, she cares for Carl, and that's why she even kills Ron. She kills Ron. She probably didn't want to kill Ron at all. He's a kid, but the reason she kills him is because she kind of had to protect the man and the boy she loves. And obviously we see her lately get with Rick, and I think that's a really solid choice, obviously because Andrea's gone, and I love it. Anyway, number 6 I've gone with Carl. So Carl, for me, I feel like in the comics he's a lot better than in the TV show, but in the TV show he is slowly changing. I feel like he is going to become the badass he becomes. For me, Carl is a great character in the show, though. I do like it. I do like his character. The stuff in season 3 was probably the best stuff with the character, and I'd say season 5 was okay as well. The stuff season 4 there wasn't very much of Carl, really. I mean, there was, but there was the stuff obviously Judith and that. But season 5 was probably the best season for Carl. Season 3 was the best season, but season 5 was a good season as well. With the community in that, and getting to know the kids, and with Ron and Enid and all that. The stuff with him and Enid is quite cool, and I'd like them to sort of explore a lot more on that. Obviously, she's sort of taken the role of Sophia, which is always good to have it, because I think Sophia is a sort of a needed. I wouldn't say she's needed that much, but it's cool to have someone replace her role. So yeah, that's Carl. Obviously, it's the protagonist's son. So number 5, I've gone with Merle Dixon. Now, He's been dead for a while. He was literally only in 2 seasons, really. Kind of had his hallucination in season 2. The reason I've put him this high is I just love his character in season 3. His quotes. He is this criminal, basically. He is a criminal who is in a way benefited from the zombie apocalypse, just like his brother has at the same time. And it's just this sort of beautiful brotherhood between him and Daryl, which really gets to me. And I think it's a really good relationship, and we obviously see that he basically loses his place at Woodbury. He loses his hand, he becomes a hardened person, and then he has to go to, he's in Woodbury, and he actually loses his place in Woodbury for his brother, and we can see that he really, really cares for his brother. This guy isn't an asshole, he cares for his brother. And he eventually, obviously, he's not allowed to join the prison at first, but then in the end he does, and we have this feud between them, obviously, because he is the one basically who gave up Glenn and Maggie, and he's the one who caused all this problems, and to be honest, he's the one who even caused the governor. The stuff with him and Michonne, obviously Michonne absolutely despises him, and it's just great. I think this is the great sort of drama bit, and in the end, he wouldn't be this high if it wasn't for his sacrificed episode, the one where he realizes that he can't be a part of the prison, he can't be a part of Woodbury, he's got no place anywhere, and he wants his brother to live. He doesn't want his brother to die, so he does the only thing he can, and he uses the walker bomb, which is really a great idea, and he gets into the back of the thing where the meetup's meant to be, and he just shoots, I think it's 8 of the men. Yeah, he shoots 8 of the men, including Ben and the long-haired man, the long-haired Indian man, and yeah, he kills all those people, and nearly kills the governor, and he ends up getting a brutal death, and the emotion and his Daryl putting down his zombified corpse is absolutely beautiful, and really saddening and everything. And I just, he's just a great character. I just love his character, and I feel like there isn't really, apart from obviously the other 4 above it, there's no other character for me that really has beat him. Not Michonne, not Carl, not Glenn, not the governor, not Shane. Although you could say he's probably a bad guy. I would see him more as a good guy than a bad guy, because he was a bad guy trying to do good for me. So yeah. Anyway, number four, I've gone with Herschel. Again, another voice of reason, just like Dale. Oh Jesus, Herschel for me was a brilliant character. The stuff with him was great. Season 2 he was okay. Season 2 I didn't like him that much. Season 3 I changed the character for me. I absolutely adored him after that. His sort of religion is the thing that really did it for me. Now we see him, Now we see him sort of with the prison, with the flu stuff. Is probably the one thing that made the flu stuff exciting for me. Is the stuff with Herschel, where we basically see that he doesn't want, he wants these people to sort of carry on and help, and this, and his idea of being too far gone was really good. And I thought the bit when he he has to get the shotgun and start shooting all of his patients because they've all turned because of the flu. I thought, and he just cries when he's reading the Bible, and he just cries because he realizes he's killed all these people, and it's very touching. He's a very touching character. And then one thing I thought was absolutely beautiful, definitely the best death on the show and the most justified death for me, is Herschel, where we basically see Rick telling the governor, we can all change, and then Herschel smiles because he knows Rick knows that Rick has figured it out, that people can change. And he gives that smile, and then he ends up getting his head chopped off, and it's brutal that it happens to him, but I just loved the death. It was really touching, and it was probably the only death I've actually cried at so far. Yeah, really great character. Anyway, number three, I've gone with Daryl Dixon. Okay, most people probably expected this to be my number 1. It isn't my number 1 because of recent seasons. I like Daryl because he's sort of a guy who's benefited a lot from the apocalypse. Season 3 was his best season by far. Stuff with him and his brother was probably the best storyline one of the best storylines in season 3, and it was a really good one. And I love Daryl. Season 4. He took that in the tank, didn't he? And that was really cool. The stuff with him and Beth wasn't great, but it was okay. And stuff. Season 5 is when it sort of went downhill for me. He becomes a lot civilized, and he becomes a lot very emotional. I don't particularly like the sort of thing. I feel like his character has gotten a bit boring in later years. Season 6, I'm not particularly that excited about him, you know, and not thrilled when he does stuff. The stuff with the RPG in No Way Out, that was cool, but I think I probably would have preferred it if it was Abraham, to be honest, who did it. You know, although I really love Daryl, I just felt like recently he's not been as good, so that's why he's a bit lower on the list. But yeah, Daryl is definitely still on my top 3 though. He's cool as shit. Anyway, number 2, I've gone with Rick Grimes. Now, obviously, the protagonist, he had to make the short list, as WatchMojo said for their list. Ugh, WatchMojo. God, Rick is so cool. Protagonist, you know, the amount of kills he has got, it's just so thrilling when he kills someone. It makes me sound so psychopathic, but you know, it's just he's just cool. All the kills he's got, you know, the sort of the idea of family is what I love the most. You know, when he says, you know, a lot of the times he'll say, these people around me, they're not just my friends, they're not just my fellow survivors, they're not just my companions, these are my family. And although they're not blood related, the only blood related really is Carl and maybe Judith. You know, he loves these people around him, and he will do whatever it takes to make them survive. And that's what I love about Rick. Although he can get into this point where he's sort of lost himself and he is too far gone and he begins to kill people for no reason, there's other times where he's really civilized. And one of the most saddest thing, or one of the most emotional things for me, is the latest No Way Out episode, where we see obviously all the Alexandrians coming out and helping, and then he sort of realizes that what Deanna said to him in the bed, you know, Deanna was in the bed, and she said, you know, they're all your people, Rick, they are, you know, that's how it is. There's no turn back. All the Alexandrians are his people because they all look up to him in one way or another. And yeah, I just love Rick's character. There's nothing really to beat. You know, you can't beat Rick for me, apart from this character who's number 1. So yeah, so number 1, you may have guessed it, is actually, do the drum roll. It's Carol. For me, Carol is the most evolved character out of all of them by far. She's by far my favourite character, just because she started off where I didn't like her. I thought, you know, she's a crybaby in a way. You know, she cries over the husband that beat her. I didn't really like her because of that. And it's pretty bad, obviously, because you know, she still loved her husband, although he was beating her. And I wasn't too fond of her in Season 1. Season 2 come around, again, I wasn't too fond of her. I was hoping she would die in Season 2, but she doesn't. Season 3 comes along, she has toughened up a lot more. Still wasn't a massive fan of her. You know, I thought she was cool. Stuff with the deleted, I know it was a deleted scene, that was the one, but she walks into Merle, she says she'll cut his neck, she'll slit his neck when he sleeps, sort of thing. That was really cool and stuff, and the Carol stuff was pretty good. But what did it for me is Season 4. Season 4 for Carol was great. The stuff when she gets exiled for killing Karen and David, and also obviously Carol also loses her daughter. You know, Carol's a broken character, emotionally broken character. She's lost her daughter, she's lost her husband. She's got nothing from her original life, nothing, and it doesn't matter. She carries on. Season 4, obviously, she kills Karen and David to try and protect the group because she loves the group and everyone in there she thinks is her family. And Rick ends up exiling her because of it. And then she just comes back. She heads back, but then she sees the prison's destroyed, and she doesn't care. She just tracks through the forest. She tries to find, obviously, she finds Lizzie and Mika and Tyrese and Judith, and they go along with her, and they get to the Grove, and obviously we see that she's promised Ryan that she would protect his 2 daughters, and then she realizes that these one girl is one. Obviously, Mika is she's kind of got the right idea, but she's not tough enough. Lizzie is tough enough, but hasn't got the right ideas, you know. And then we see, obviously, Lizzie killed Mika, and is absolutely brutal. And we have the sort of Of Mice and Men stuff, where basically Carol puts down Lizzie, because there's no other way. If they take her with her, then she might actually kill Judith or even one of them, maybe. But if they leave her there, then that's just too harsh. She could get, you know, eaten by zombies, and it would be brutal for her. And she was very messed up in the head, and Carol had to do the tough thing and kill a child, really. And that's what, you know, it really toughened her character. The sort of next thing that happens of obviously breaking them out of Terminus, that was fucking beautiful. Just to say that, and the hug with Daryl and Rick, and I thought that was really good, and it was really well done, and I just loved it. Season 4, obviously moving on, there was the stuff with them, you know, her and Daryl going to sea. That was cool enough, and then her at the hospital, and then later on season 5, we see her sort of get into Alexandria, and she's playing the possum, so to speak. She's you know, playing roles, pretending to be this sort of weak butt woman. Then JSS comes along in season 6. Holy crap, she gets into badass mode again. All those kills was brutal. I was absolutely loving the episode, and she was, you know, and the stuff with her and Morgan, I thought was great, because I like Morgan's character as well as Carol's, and although they sort of have this disagreement on what to do things, I do believe that Carol is in the wrong, and although she is in the wrong, I don't care. I still love the character, and I still understand why she wants to do this, because she sees these people as her family. She's already lost her core family. She's lost Ed, she's lost Sophia. They're gone. Her actual family's gone. So these people are her family. She doesn't want to lose them anymore. She doesn't want to lose people. I don't think she cares for all of them. I think she cares for Rick. I think she cares for Carl. I think she definitely cares for Daryl the most out of all of them, I would say. But she cares for them all of them as a whole. And I feel like she just wants, you know, she doesn't want people to die. She doesn't want to see people to die. She doesn't really seem to be that bothered when people die. The one concern I have with the characters, they didn't really do the Tyree, you know, the reaction to Tyrese's death or the reaction to Sam's death. But you know what? I'm okay with that. But all around, Carol is definitely the best character for me. She's an absolute badass, and I just love her. So anyway, guys, that's my list of 15 characters. Please give me your list. Obviously, this was a really long video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all watched. Thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, goodbye.